Welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform. And here on Newsfile, we put Ghana first. And my guests you've been listening to so far, Joseph Dindiok-Penka, former Deputy Attorney General, Alexander Chum Barima, lawyer, Deputy Director General, Narcotics Control Commission. Bobby Bansing is lawyer and lecturer, Ghana School of Law. And my outfit is by Habil Scruter. You can find them at Ajiringano, opposite Villa David Estate. You can call them 0200 84 1988, 0200 84 1988, or just look for Habil Scruter on any of their social media handles, and they'll make you look really good. They've been sewing for some of your celebrities, if you didn't know. But if you go on their pages, you'll find that the program is brought to you by Bank of Africa. Charlie, I hear Bank of Africa, strong as a group, close as a partner, MTN everywhere you go. Ashesi University, educating ethical and entrepreneurial leaders for Africa. Robert and Sons Optical Services, your comprehensive eye care service provider for 33 plus years. My Way Insurance, dial *165# on MTN to join My Way today. Syntax Tank is strong, it's tough. Activa International Insurance, our clients, our passion. International Facilities Management Association. They are proud to be associated with your most authoritative news analysis platform, Newsfile. Safari Valley Eco Park, bringing you closer to nature. Valex Lease, your affordable documents management solution. Now, before I get back to my guests, let's share with you some of your comments. And Citizen Kwesi Hornsby says corruption has a pungent smell, but it takes the nostrils of a patriotic citizen to detect it. The supposed looting is mind-blowing, and these are even minor state agencies. What is then happening at the Controller General, Cocoa Board, GRA, ports, ministries, etc.? You're asking the same question that Daniel Domlevo asked earlier. Daniel W.Y. Asari says, tell Mr. Penka, it is such reckless attempt to focus on form over substance, which has led us here. I sense fear in his voice. Thank God he's not in power anymore. Really, you don't really know Penka. Even when they were in government, he was blunt. The young magician says, you sometimes listen to some of the monies alleged to have been stolen by some erstwhile government officials, and you cringe. What kind of wicked spirit possess these people when they are in government? The government should chase the low-hanging fruit like that of Sedinam Tamaklo as well. She has been convicted, and she's just supposed to be brought to the country to face jail time. And that's the problem now. Attila Kwejo Francis says, oral is about recovering the loot. As a Ghanaian, I care less about jail time and more about getting our money back. Locking people up without recovery changes nothing. The AG must focus on reclaiming the loot. Thank you. Hashtag Newsfile. This one says, please ask Bobby Banson and Honorable Penka how the Woyomi case was handled by the same AG department even before Woyomi was charged. Worse, that case became a political campaign matter when the matter was still pending in court. This kind of hypocrisy is abominable. A couple more of your messages, and I assure you we want to read as many of them as possible. This one says, the internal auditors do flag a lot of these infractions. The challenge is that they currently report to management of the very institutions they work with, who determine their remuneration, etc. There have been proposals for constitutional reforms, which I think the committee will recommend. Of course, Osai, Dr. why am I forgetting his name? Formerly of the internal audit, Odro-Osai, very, very, vocal on that issue. He says, bro, this is exactly what Domolevo is talking about. Internal auditors have to have independence of the institutions they are affiliated with. This is coming from Enchibu Esiako. Frank Anderson Jr., sending us this from the United Kingdom. He says quite a bit, but let me read it. This money laundering scandal was facilitated by a regulated bank that failed to fulfill its basic legal and regulatory function. Banks, you mean? It did not raise a suspicious activity report to the authorities. That failure cannot be dismissed as an operational lapse when a firm subject to regulatory supervision neglects to report clear indicators of criminal activity. Senior managers who oversaw those controls must be treated as complicit. Thank you for that message. And Papa Bisu Spintes Road, he says, another way the corrupt ones in position of trust mail the state and share with their friends and cronies is via judgment debts. On that note, IOCO must investigate various judgment debts via cancellation of government contracts in the past and pick out the corrupt ones. Papa Bisu, Spintes, Accra. This one from Edu. It says, we encourage crime in this country. How can you fight crime in a country that every crime is bailable and there are no time limits for trials in the name of democracy and justice? That's a huge joke. We have to declare a state of emergency on corruption. There might be one or two wrongfully convicted people, but that's what happens anywhere in all criminal justice systems. So we have to take care of them. George says, when Mahama says the whole country is a crime scene, people doubted him. Without prejudice to the presumed innocence of the suspects and accused persons, how could these persons be so merciless to the state? And what is Kwenka saying? Stealers. Let's say that loud. Musa Abattoir says, I'm quite impressed with the AG's encounter with the press. His detailed breakdown of the various corruption cases being pursued shows seriousness and commitment to justice. You know what other people are saying? That it puts the judges also alert that we are aware of the evidence. If the judges go and do some wondrous thing, we will not allow them. I wish the charges had been filed in court before the press briefing, because sometimes early public disclosure gives room for culprits to employ legal gymnastics to delay the process. My regards to Julius Debra. Okay, I'll read maybe last two. This one says, so when Penka was prosecuting people, was it because he believed in their guilt and followed the procedure of going to court to seek to affirm his belief? Thank you. Then finally, Angela says, it's about the amount of detail the AG gives in his press conference. That's what is the problem about procedural fairness. The DA in the US does it differently. They announce indictments. They don't say things like the people witnesses are singing. Okay, aligning our graft institutions, including the strong coordination of their data management systems, separating the Minister of Justice from AG, making the AG DPP head of the graft institutions, building legal policy and prosecutorial capacity, and reforming our corruption laws to reflect lifestyle audit and shift in burden of proof for unexplained wealth, transparent asset declaration. These measures would help, plus CSO watchdog roles. Thank you all for your messages. Sorry if I've not been able to read them. As you can see, time is running and our time is almost up. Now, what do you say? Before we go to the extradition matter of Ken Ofori-Atta, briefly, the thing about the Auditor General, the acting CJ, and the AG meeting with the President, who is in a hurry? Remember, he has said before that he wishes that we could use the military style to deal with corruption.
I disagree with him.
He's being promised special courts. What do you make of that thing?
I do not see anything wrong with the meeting,
for lack of a better word. I mean, as the president, he's the ultimate person who wields...
The issue is about the promise of special courts.
Yes, but I think I know that in GJ something, there's a court that when I pass by the building, I see state recovery something court. Only
economic and financial crimes. There are two.
Not that one. There's another one.
Georgina Mensah Dacha formerly was in one, and then Ifiasare Sewaboche, very effective female judges.
Reverend Ampiaboni's court.
Okay.
You see the notice, the state recovery something court.
Right.
I have seen it. Perhaps they may want to replicate it in other regions. Perhaps they may want to introduce an ally that would have the rules that would govern prosecuting these matters very swiftly. And if that is a result of the meeting between...
Is it about the lack of special courts?
No, I don't think... well, the lack of a special court, maybe dedicated courts.
Exactly.
Maybe the word should be dedicated courts.
Yes, that's it.
So that in those courts, they know that when they bring you, every day we will do it now because we don't do any other case.
Yes.
Because if you look at the financial courts, they were doing, sometimes they will send land cases there and say that is what the system brought to us. But if it is a dedicated court.
Dedicated ones, yes.
So instead of using the word special, I think that maybe it should be dedicated, so that they know that that judge has special capacity training.
Very strong, no-nonsense judges like Ifia Sewa Sarboche were compelling lawyers to do every day and do within times, and you, the same lawyers, were complaining, you know, that they were being forcing you to do things.
To use 1 hour to do a cross-examination.
Yes.
So maybe we can have dedicated courts, not only in Accra, maybe in all the regional...
Is it about dedicated courts or rules and trained judges?
I have made the point that when you have dedicated courts, you would make sure the judge who sits there has capacity in respect of those fields, and then you would have an ally that would regulate the conduct of those matters in those courts. So those three things I think should be done. The reason why it is good is that the same way we say justice must not only be done, but to be seen to be done. Manifestly done. When people are about to engage in criminal enterprise, and they know that once you are caught and there's prima facie evidence against you, it's a matter of weeks. There will be an outcome. They will think through, other than say, oh, we'll go through the normal process. We can delay the system. Like you said, when your the Auditor General said, you will buy as much time until the next election cycle, hoping that when your party comes, they will enter.
I was referencing Georgina Wood's time. You know, in Parliament, they were shouting, we don't have this, we don't have that. I actually had to write an article to criticize them for being lousy. They were talking about laws that exist. They were talking about rules that exist to empower the Public Accounts Committee. Okay? They were talking about all of these. Meanwhile, all they needed was in place. CJ Wood set up about 11 or 12 of these courts to be dedicated to Auditor General's report cases. For 3 years and upwards, not a single such case was sticking there. Is it about courts or it's about those who bring the cases?
That's about it. You have answered yourself. It's very clear that it's those who are bringing the cases who determine where it should go. If we do a dedicated court and then you go and send land cases to that particular court, we did it for purposes of fighting corruption, and you take land cases to that court and inundate them, how are they going to function?
That's what I'm saying.
How are they going to function? Something I just wanted to add that, you see, I agree with you that justice delayed is justice denied. But also, let's not forget that justice rushed is justice crushed.
The flip side of that dictum is justice hurried is justice buried.
Yes, that's the point. So we must make sure that we balance that in our haste to look for justice. Remember that we have a legal dictum that says that it is better for 99 guilty persons to walk than for one innocent person
to be jailed.
I mean, we are very much aware of these things. So in doing so, we should have to be very careful and extremely careful at that to ensure that the people who are guilty suffer for it.
But you agree that the system is slow.
Totally agree.
The system is inefficient to a large extent.
Why do you ask again? If we can have a criminal trial of causing financial loss to the state to last 7 years in the High Court, what else do you want me to say? 7 years in the High Court for financial loss to the state. And as you indicated, but why even? Why should it be the case that when there's a change of government, trial of cases will terminate? Why? So that we look for criminals or suspected criminals in governments that are not in power all the time. That's what we are going to do. Musical chairs. That's how I want to run the country. Anyway, the meeting you're talking about, the only problem I have with it is I'm looking at it from the lenses of Article 125, where the judiciary is independent and is supposed to exercise its functions without interference. And whether His Excellency the President, the head of the executive, meeting the judiciary and giving direction as to how, whether that is no interference.
He didn't give direction.
Yes.
But this has happened almost all the time.
I am not actually bothered about the history. I am looking at it that the judiciary should be allowed that independent mind to perform its function without interference from the executive.
This is not judging duty.
So I think that
this is the administrative process.
So that's what I'm talking about.
So what's the interference about?
I'm not. You see, I think you haven't understood me. I'm about to land to say that, look, if the meeting is just about administrative sharing of ideas to perfect some wrongs and to make sure that there's expedition and for justice, I'm all for it. But we should not let the judiciary be at the call and beck of the executive arm of government. Otherwise, that will be very dangerous to our democracy. So I will say that, yes, it is good for us to do dedicated, specialized court and train. As you have indicated, I will want, as you rightly pointed out, no-nonsense judges. Look, if you mention the name Justice Afia-Sewa,
yes.
I mean, it sends shivers down the spine of not only accused persons, but lawyers.
Yeah.
Even lawyers, you could not misbehave in that ladies' court.
Unnecessary adjournment.
Absolutely.
The president told the judges who were just sworn in, the High Court judges who were just sworn in, unnecessary adjournment. He says for every case, every affidavit for every rate, you must see that it's a human life behind it. It is somebody who has lost their job. It's somebody who has their hope.
Oh, I agree with that. There's a case. I'm not going to mention the court. I went to court in July. All right, and we did all the processes. We did the CMC and everything. And we were supposed to start trial. The case was adjourned to March next year.
I had one like
March
that.
next
I had one like that. The person...
Yes, from July to March.
The person came all the way from Kumasi.
Yes.
Spent the weekend, and then we did good preparation for them to mount the box. We went to the court, say, judge is on vacation, and guess what? Adjourned to July of next year.
Bobby, can you imagine?
But his vacation is 1 year.
Just 2 days ago, I sent a junior to Kumasi. You fly them, they go, they come. Case adjourned because some lawyer has not done their work. Some court officers have also not served. They didn't serve. And money wasted, time wasted, everything. Yes, Chum.
Well, I think before I move into the issue of dedicated courts, I would like to rightly indicate that the oral prosecutions, the oral exercise was not a platform to pronounce people guilty. They only took complaints as assigned to them.
We have moved on from there.
From the president.
We have moved on from there.
I know, but I just want to, straighten something. And that it was not wrong for them to have received those complaints and then pass it on to the Attorney General. But don't forget that before we...
Why are you going there? There's no questioning about that. So let's use our time profitably. Let's go to this subject now.
Well, this subject is very good. I mean, for having a dedicated court is something that for us, even with Narcotics Control Commission, we've called for. It's something that we believe that we should have. It will help our cases to be done swiftly, if possible. And also, it will also help us to have dedicated judges and trained judges, for that matter, who will understand what goes on with narcotics cases. And in this case, this Auditor General's case, judges will be possibly taken through some trainings of audits and some accounting principles, among other things, to understand what goes on if if an auditor says that this is an infraction and has cited A, B, C, D. It means this. Or if someone is cited to have misapplied money, what goes into that misapplication is this and that from the auditor's point of view. If the judges are giving all this kind of background trainings and they're handling cases of that nature, they'll be able to deal with it in the way that it's supposed to be dealt with, fairly and properly.
They get transfer left, right, center.
Yes, I'm coming there. That one too, I think, is something that we have to look at, because if a judge is given a particular court and he or she is dealing with some set of cases, it is important that we allow him or her to flow, but not to truncate it in the course of time, and then somebody else will come in and sometimes you have no excuse than to just start the whole thing afresh. It delays trials, it delays the processes, and then sometimes you will find that things will even turn out to be different.
Lots of experience.
Exactly. Because the same witness will come back to the same court and enter the same witness box and will be giving different testimonies compared to what he or she had given earlier on. So having dedicated courts for Auditor General, referrals, narcotics cases, galamsey, among other things, is good. But the only thing is that the judges who will be going there, one, we should avoid this kind of transfers when they are in the course of doing trials. Again, we should avoid anything that will not bring them to speed with the cases. And the course will also not be made redundant. We should not be giving them cases that is not, for that particular cause, like my colleague was saying, that a case for a financial court is giving land case. It doesn't add up. It's a financial court. So cases that should be going there should be financially related. We should not be mixing them up with other things. And before I realize the core motive behind setting up that particular court will be no more. So we should focus on whatever specific thing we have dedicated that court for. If it's for galamsey, then all the galamsey cases across the country should be going there. If it's for narcotics, all narcotics cases should be going there. If it's for Auditor General case, every year we get it. Every year. 2024 or so will be coming on, I think this year or next year. 2024 is next year, right? Yeah. 2024 case of audited report.
They've done it.
They've done it.
That's where they found that.
So one they are looking at now.
Okay. 18 billion has been lost or
exactly. So by the close of the year, they will be through with it at department level. And then the next thing is that those who are found culpable should be charged. And once they are charged, it should not delay in taking them to this dedicated courts. And the courts too, once the matters are taken there, the relevant things that they need, evidence, witnesses, whatever, should also be made available in due time.
Right.
So that the courts can have enough time to deal with them and then pass the appropriate sentence that we all wish to see.
The OSP also came up, apart from reviewing the charges for the Mustafa case to 50 plus, there was the issue of the Ofori-Atta extradition. And now people say that was a needless, spat between the two of them, because eventually they seem to agree that they will do some things and then they will proceed with it. I'll start with you, Bobby.
Okay.
And starting with Bobby.
They're giving us a minute each, I think.
Starting with Bobby. Yeah. Yes, go ahead. What do you think?
These are two public state entities that are required to collaborate. If you look at, strictly speaking, the OSP, it's not so independent in some ways of the Attorney General.
The Attorney General says it's acknowledged the autonomy of the OSP. He said it at the
That's what I'm saying, in some ways. For example, the Attorney General cannot determine how the OSP will conduct its investigations, blah, blah, blah. But in some ways, the law also makes it subject to the...
Like extradition.
Office. And
only the AG can do it.
That can do it, because if you look at the Extradition Act, the time it was passed, even the mutual legal assistance law, it seems to suggest that but of course, it should not be without necessary collaboration. And I'm happy that they've said that they are going to work together, which we expect that they should.
Is it a good excuse for the OSP to say, after they did the recent bust at the SML, they got more information they are working on? And that is holding them back, and they want to have a complete process.
The thing with extradition is that when you send a request, you must add the basis of your request. If it is granted based on that basis, and you bring the person here, you cannot change it. That is the thing with extradition. And so before you put in that request, you must be very sure that you have covered all, because you cannot amend it. That is what the law and the practice is. So I do not begrudge them saying they want to complete and cover all angles before they forward their basis for the extradition to the AG's office.
But this is a man they have put in jeopardy. They put a red notice on him. His movement has been curtailed. He doesn't have the freedom he should have been enjoying. And now we want to bring him, because you say you need him at all costs to face trial, because you don't want a situation like Sedinam's case, where you finish the trial, she runs away in the middle of the trial, you finish the trial, she's convicted, and she's nowhere to face jail. You have been preparing this all along.
Something like we keep saying, procedural fairness is equally important as substantive fairness. Perhaps at the time the OSP, I don't know, I've not seen the evidence, was issuing the red alerts, they had enough evidence to issue red alerts. But when it comes to extradition,
It's a different...
No other country than the United States of America. You must, for example, justify that it is not politically influenced. That is very key. And that is something that they can easily raise because he was appointed by a previous government. And you must make sure that when you bring him, you will not have room to amend the charges or add. That is why I believe that
Did you know about this aspect?
Oh yeah, it is, yes. Once they are surrounded based on that, and you bring him,
strictly
according to that.
Yeah.
The extradition in the U.S. court will be done by the Department of Justice.
Based on the charges
that you sent,
and it will be done by the U.S. lawyers.
Yes.
Not our lawyers.
Yes. But they only add a covering note, more or less, to your charge. So they will show the document from the AG's office here.
Yeah.
Having been notarized and everything, that we want him to go to Ghana because this is the charge. And they actually add a summary of all the evidence that they intend to rely on. All the evidence, they must add it so that when you come, you cannot alter it substantially. Okay. So I believe that is why they are taking their time to do it.
A summary of the evidence. So this has compelled me to go check the steps that are required. There are 12 different steps that are needed, what they call it a step-by-step Ghana requesting extradition from the U.S., how it is done. The OSP or whichever institution that wants must identify the fugitive. 2, then there must be verification and then charges. Then 3, there must be Interpol red notice. 4, there must be submission to the Attorney General.
Yes.
This is where we are. Submission to the Attorney General, where you have to have extradition packets, which is a copy of the arrest warrant issued by the Ghanaian court, which we have. A copy of the red notice issued by Interpol, which we have. A copy of the charge sheets, a statement of facts detailing the offense and supporting evidence, relevant statutory provisions to back the offenses, identification material, passport photographs, and any other supporting affidavit. This is where we are.
And when you come, you can't change it.
Yes.
You
okay.
Cannot.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, I share the same thing because at my end, we've done, I think, about twice of that thing. And interestingly, we go through the same process, but there's no way you can go, behind the AG.
What's the purpose of this leak and trying to say the OSP was protecting Ofori-Atta? What's the purpose of it?
Oh, you see,
who said that?
That's the criticism.
Okay.
After the leak was done. No, the leak of the correspondence between the two.
In 5 seconds, what I would say is that the exchanges between the two institutions was absolutely needless and avoidable. That is what has given credence to all the speculations that we now have. It was needless. The collaboration could have been better done behind the scenes than coming public. And I think that's what has created, as if there's a rift between the AG and then the Office of Special Prosecution.
Okay, my production is calling me that the time is up, unfortunately. And thank you all very much. Thank you all very much. But I need to say this. We gave you pressure when the black voter issues came up and the problems we're discussing up and down. But when you successfully you finished the whole project and now you took control, we didn't say anything about it. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Now,
but congratulations not to me. I think we must first congratulate Mr. Ibrahim Mahama.
Okay.
His vision, his tenacity. When things got tough, he could have just decided to give it up. And then Sir Sam Jonah.
Okay.
For essentially playing.
I've seen in some international press they are celebrating this, that the first one that the Ghanaian is assuming and taking over our resources. I'm Samson Ladi Ayeni. Have a good afternoon.